We are a nation of bright sunlight, but there is a lot of darkness still lurking in our country. Amidst that darkness, talent is hidden in every corner, flashing the ray of hope every now and then. A messiah is needed to be a torchbearer to lit up lives of such hidden talents and groom them to become holistic human beings. Rural India has talent abound, but no system to see the rustic talents emerge into a successful form. A daily bread earner's son or a daughter cannot normally dream of sitting in front of a computer, be a chip designer, hold a responsible job in India and abroad. This is where a messiah is needed, to plant dreams and lead them through the garden path, evoke in them a spirit of self-confidence. This is the vision. This is the mission of Dr. Shivalingam S. Mahant Shetti, the person who holds 67 patents to his name and an experience of almost 5 decades. Born in Shivalingam, a small township in Karnataka, Dr. Shetti showed extraordinary talents from his early childhood days and school years. After completing the primary school in Shivalingam, he finished his secondary schooling from Belgavi Military School. Chennamma, the great historical queen of Mysore, who fought gallantly against the British and embraced martyrdom, was a great source of inspiration to him from his childhood. His father, the late Dr. Srishal Basalingappa Mahant Shetti, was a very successful physician by profession, had his own private hospital in Shivalingam town. He was a very learned and cultural-minded person, holding a considerable influence in the society. His mother, the late Gaura Devi Hema Shattar, was a woman of strong will and determination. Her kindness and compassion influenced the young Mahant Shetti. In his own words, this compassion for others has shaped him in the journey of his life.
It was essentially what I had learned through my childhood from my mother, basically involvement with the people and sense of emotional intelligence and stuff like that out there, and how everybody deserves to have a fair chance.
Dr. Mahant Shetti received the B.Tech in Electrical Engineering from Indian Institute of Technology in Mumbai in the year 1972.
I'm grateful to him, he made my amp. We had no idea what a soldering iron was. We had no idea what a valve was, what a capacitor was. But we went to Lamington Road, we picked up some material, he took out his soldering iron and he created an amp. We bought 2 Ratpata speakers, and that from that day onward, I had music, loud rock music blaring from my room for the next 3 years.
Subsequently, he went to USA for further studies and earned SCM and PhD degrees in electrical science from Brown University, USA in 1975 and 77 respectively. He joined the research laboratories of Texas Instruments, Dallas, and worked for 16 years.
He always used to say, there are two kinds of values, business values and there is kind of a human values. And he used to say business will come and go, but humanity stays. So his focus should be on human values, because when you focus on human values, business will keep coming and going, but humanity stays, and that is what will make a difference to life and difference to society. I think that is where I learned values are not for individual to keep outside the door of the company. And when you go in the company, you do what your company wants to tell you. But actually it was that you can actually take values to your work and live with those values and have a deeper satisfaction of following your values. I think that was amazing. So when I met Mahant after that, I said, I'm not going to pay any bribe. I'm not going to do any corruption. So earlier I used to go by railway and then used to give 100 rupees to the TC and take the berth. But then after that, I realized that that's not the right way to do. And that was a life transforming moment for me, because I realized that when you are being corrupt in small things also, you are encouraging the corruption and transforming the society in a negative way. Mahant always believed was teaching is not about giving knowledge. He always used to say, learn by doing it, learn by asking questions, learn by actually kind of helping each other, learning from each other. And that I think has been everlasting for most of the people, because he used to say learning is not only classroom, actually your learning starts when you come into the professional life and it continues till you die. So there is no way you can stop learning. When you stop learning, you're actually decaying.
He's a multifaceted person, and for him, his basics are just so strong that he has such an intuitive feel of how he solved the problem. And his approach to solving the problem is very different from anyone who will conventionally approach it. As an example, if someone is a designer, you actually start with a schematic and do layout. Mahant actually starts with a layout. He can almost see electrons flowing and then he derives a schematic later. That's very, very unusual. You wouldn't see the most designers who actually learn and do it that way, never do it that way. He's completely self-made, and his breadth of problem solving amazes individuals. I mean, he has no limit on the domain, whether it's electrical, it's mechanical, it's chemistry, there is absolutely no limit for him. He sees it as just a problem solving engineer. So we've been blessed to see someone like that with that level of capability, and the confidence he has is immense.
He founded the Lin ASIC Design Center for Texas Instruments at Bangalore, India in 1988-89. This was the first commercial chip design activity in India. In 1999, he terminated his bright career with Texas Instruments USA and returned to his motherland to train ordinary students and convert them into chip designers. He founded Karnataka Microelectronic Design Center Private Limited, popularly known as KARMIC in Manipal, employing over 250 engineers and training them to be chip designers. He wielded his wards into a comprehensive team, creating competence and acumen in memory, high-performance digital, analog, RF, and mixed signal domains. Fresh graduate engineers are given a year's training to work as a spirited team and taught all practical aspects of IC design. An unique feature of the Design Center is that primarily its members are drawn exclusively from KARMIC Training Center Private Limited. The early years of KARMIC were exciting and innovative. They rented a number of bungalows in Anantnagar and Shantinagar in Manipal and used them ingeniously as hostels, community kitchen and dining hall, as training and design centers, and lab works for their clients. These engineering apprentices were given a year's rigorous training, not only in chip design, but also in community living.
When we joined, we saw a very simple person was very interacting with us, was playing with us volleyball every day. And the kind of training, if I talk about his training, he has such a vast knowledge about VLSI. He did not have any specific syllabus for the training. He was ready to talk on any topic on given day, like device physics, fabrication, digital design, analog design, or any kind of topic. He used to cover each and every topic in given day. When we learned from him, we came to know that what we did not know and what we should be knowing if we have to be a VLSI engineer. He wanted us to come on the board, talk anything we want to know. But he used to say, don't worry, the sky will not fall on you if you go wrong. So that kind of training we had, and everyone is respected in the industry just because they got trained under Mahant sir.
Our training of 1 year after BE was more like finishing school, but more important was how to work as a team. The Indian strength is cooperation. Okay, so when somebody starts working at a terminal, 5 people put their heads together, which Western would think as a waste of time, but they are able to remove their egos and solve problems collectively. We were doing this analog design where you learn by listening to mistakes. Okay, it's not all written in the 10 program or anywhere else. You suffer through it and then you learn the stuff. And so for somebody to go and admit that they did this and it resulted in failure, you need a tremendous amount of comfort level with each other. So the trust has to be built up between people. So that is not technical training, it's training of the human mind basically.
His next site was Nisargi, a place near his hometown Bailongal, where he started Karnataka Training Center or KTC. The mission here was greater and tougher. The project involved picking up the poorest of the poor, bright 10th class pass students from 6 districts, and conducting a month-long orientation program to shift students. The only admission criteria was that the wards should have a burning desire to learn. The succeeding lot is given training to be chip designers. The trainees of KTC Nisargi were grounding in the fundamentals relevantly required to be chip designers. Sometimes it is up to the M.Tech levels. Professionals are invited to teach students both in the classrooms and in computer labs.
He wanted to do a program for the poor people who discontinue their education after 10th standard. First and foremost criteria is we have to hire the poor students from the rural background, that too from the government schools, not from the English medium schools. That is the first thing. Second thing is, are they capable of grasping the things in the VLSI design, chip designing process? So I used to go to the Bagalkot district schools. Desai sir used to go to the Hubli Dharwad district schools, and Katkor sir used to go to the Bijapur district schools. During their SSLC study, we used to go and interact with the teachers and the students and the parents who are very poor and wanted to discontinue their education. We used to convince them that once if you selected under this program, right, you will be not charged a single pie for the VLSI design course and your job is assured. The moment we told them that your job is assured, they were excited about this program. So they used to undergo the 3 years program, no examination, no practical examination, no theory examination for them. What is needed for the chip design related to that subjects, they were trained and they used to do the hands-on projects using that training, and the chip used to be manufactured and they used to test it. Soon after that 3 years program, many of them, because of this training, many of them they are offered the job in the KARMIC, Qualcomm and other things. Now the students are serving.
So the issue came about where we, with these three gurus, Dr. Professor Katkor and Professor Desai and Professor Kambalimat, we started out this SSLC stuff. Again, something that nobody thought was doable in India. But I've seen cases where people who were not PUC or any other stuff, they're not that old, could do things in the US. Okay, so it wasn't a unmitigated risk, it was a calculated risk.
This experiment was forced to move to Mallapur near Nisarge. Where uranium was discovered in the mountain beside Nisarge village, which completely changed the environment. Presently, Dr. Mahant Shetti has his base and training center at Sirsi, a small town about 4 hours car drive from Belagavi. Sirsi is like any other neighboring village in the area, scenic and serene with forests, farmland all around. Hidden amidst this exquisite serenity is this center where you will find a group of 25 odd underprivileged students being trained in a Gurukul style. They live with their teacher and mentor, who is always around, busy sculpting their young minds to live and practice engineering hands down, as they train themselves to be chip designers. In this 3-year period of the course, problem solving is the basis of a good engineering grounding. Whether it pertains to irrigation, energy efficiency, or the structural stability of their hostels, engaging in thought process forms the basis of engineering. Dr. Mahant, a great believer of frugal and appropriate engineering, and this is what is being transmitted to his wards. The students are made to do assignments in appropriate, adequate, and frugal technologies evidently applicable in rainwater harvesting, low-cost irrigation, sanitation, low-cost rural electrification, demonstrating appropriate and frugal techniques of solving rural and urban housing problems. This is the most urgent concept to imbibe for rural India. Dr. Mahant Shetti has one of his foot in the industrial sector and his other foot firmly aground in agriculture. He has set up a model farm at Somnathi, where all these frugal techniques are demonstrated in their ultimate form. It is there for all to see and believe. Dr. Shetti contends that a large volume of chips are imported into India for application that do not require high speed. On the other hand, if smaller and less powerful chips were available, plenty of India-centric products can be developed, especially energy-saving applications. He believes that a 5 volts optimum 0.8 micron technology as well as 2 micron chips will be sufficient for a large number of commercial, defense application, energy-saving products and automation in general. Dr. Shetty's forte lies here. There are a few fabs, fabrication unit of microchips in India, which are non-productive or lying idle, if only for its obsolescence. These very fabs can be activated to service Indian requirements and also export to developing countries. It is time that we design our own chips as required by our products, rather than base our design on available chips at 20 times cost, utilizing barely 3% of its computing power. This is the smart way in which innovative approach may as well be applicable to automotive and biomedical engineering and enhance export to developed countries. Over 600 different chip designs are ready. Product development around these chips are in progress. The most interesting part of his design is that all but one layer in the stack is common. The differentiation is only in the final layer, which is the only metal layer in the chip. This makes fabrication of chips easy and cost-effective. Imagine medical equipments are built around them at 1% to 5% of their present cost. A new narrative is being evolved in the quest to the Make in India initiative. All that is needed to make this transformation is a change of mindset and a different outlook to approach India's requirements. It is time to break the shackles of dependency on foreign designs and imports. This alone will give the Make in India initiative the intended impetus. Dr. Mahant Shetti has this dream. He wants to refurbish existing fabs and make India-centric chips. He wants to design mini fabs and let them proliferate in the country. He wants to increase employment by increasing the possibilities of mushrooming entrepreneurial ventures to create products around these frugal chips. This is his Silicon Dandi March. He believes that collectively we can do all that it takes to achieve this goal. He has demonstrated that it is better to light a candle than to curse the darkness.
I had started the chip design activity in India. Okay, and without, I don't know if the forethought was there saying it will become so big or any of the stuff. It had created a huge amount of employment in India, wealth in India, etc. But more important, we go and build a system where Indians can design chips, etc., which are limitations. They're not any chip that you want kind of stuff. But you can get the whole thing done in India. I think we have a plausible solution.
Presently, we are having all the equipment required for manufacturing being imported. Not only equipment, it is the chemicals and the whole ecosystem which is required for silicon manufacturing. This will not only lead to a high technology, but it will lead to an ecosystem when it will generate the jobs for our youngsters in India. As you are aware, we have got about 65% of the people are below the age of 35, and India needs to generate jobs for the young people. And this is going to be one of the ways where you can generate jobs for India. And apart from that, it will generate the IPs. What you mean is intellectual properties for India. It will make the country strong economically also. If you are saying that value of IP, it is in an iPhone, it is about 50% or more money is generated to the IP value also. If you are saying $670 for an iPhone, $364 goes into the IP value, and this project is also likely to generate the IPs in India, which will make a country economically strong.
The aim is to address what is supposed to be $400 billion market by 2025 in India, that at least half of that electronics are manufactured in India with Indian components, with Indian labor use, and we don't import them from China, where our annual deficit in the trade already has hit $60 billion. So with that aim, we are starting here.
I would like to talk about the Silicon Dandi March, which is a vision that Mahant sees for all of us. It is his mission to bring India on the chip manufacturing map. The Silicon Dandi March also has a vision of seeing that chip manufacturing plants are made mini-sized, called mini-fabs, and they proliferate all over the country.
We propose an idea of looking at some market segment in India which can be addressed with old equipment that we have. Okay, so now instead of going there and say, I want this esoteric stuff out there, what is it that we can do with whatever we have first, right? And build up a capability and a confidence that we can run this stuff out there, make a commercial venture out of it, etc. But at the same time, it gives self-confidence in India that we can make these things ourselves. And once you do that, you can break other logjams with it. That's the heart of Silicon Dandi March, self-sufficiency and respecting the Indian intellectuals.
About 800 years ago, the wandering monks or Jangamas travelled from place to place in the kingdoms to spread the word of religion and educate the common people to enhance their confidence and be better human beings. In this Lingayat tradition, Dr. Mahant Shetti, a modern-day Lingayat, has done very much the same. His teachings and trainings are technology-based without losing the humanistic content. His wards have become complete human beings.
English translation of Jangama is a wandering monk. So, Jangamas collect prasadam from the people in the village, and then they redistribute it to the downtrodden and the needy in the village. That is what is the tradition of Jangama. So they would not stay anywhere. They would keep on walking. Monks keep on going. They would not amass anything. They would not amass any financial instruments. They will just teach, and then they will impart their knowledge to the society, and then they will move to the other part of the country. So Mahant Shetti is nothing but a living embodiment of Jangama. And somebody asked Mahatma Gandhi, what is your message to the manhood? So Mahatma Gandhi said, my life is my message. So I see the same thing, same quote in Mahant sir, and I wish him a very good health.
Never was the wave of patriotism so powerful in the hearts of Indians as it was on this great occasion. The eyes of the world were focused on Gandhi and on Dandi, a small village on the seashore in Gujarat, which was preparing to receive streams of men and women. After a 241-mile-long trek, lasting for 24 days, the pilgrims reached the promised land on the morning of April 5th.
We all salute the conviction of this one man who has gone singularly and in a steadfast manner, creating technological skills and developing that sense of character in his wards, warding off all kinds of hindrances and difficulties in the way. He is an epitome of human endurance and perception in an ocean of knowledge where sky is the limit. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep.